Welcome everyone to the 7th round of the 2012 GP4 Offline Championship for the Canadian Grand Prix at the Montreal Street Circuit. And I am your host for today, George Roke. And first of all, let's go over the Monaco race rating and the Monaco driver of the day. So the race rating was given a 6.5 out of 10, and no surprise, the driver of the day was given to Waze Kuba, who of course took his first victory of the season and Ferrari's first victory of the season. So we're here for the Canadian Grand Prix, in which we will be using the current layout, e.g. the current pit exit, although that has been known to cause problems, and also the last chicane / the Wall of Champions. So this should be a very fascinating race. Always is the Canadian Grand Prix. Personally, one of my favourite tracks on the calendar. I think it's most of the drivers' favourites, to be fair, aside from maybe Silverstone or something like that. But the lap record was set by Will Neller, a 1:12.0 back in 2006. That record set a few years back, as those cars were definitely at their fastest. But anyway, here is the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix. Waze Kuba on pole position for his first pole of the season, I believe. Viggo Holsten second. Row 2, Joseph Willows and Nicholas Gal for Ryan Red Bull respectively. Evan Byrne in 5th place, followed by Volker in 6th. Jay McKenzie and George Roke, both Lotus drivers, on row 4. Alex Southgate and Kirosima De Rosa on row 5. And on the 6th row of the grid, Roland Moitian and Amal Carr in the other Force India. As we move on to the 7th row of the grid, we have Adam Wolf and Rifki Farkazane. And then as we move on to the 8th row of the grid, 8th row, we have, excuse me, we have Felix Sontag and Robert Ionescu. I apologise for my voice as well. I haven't been feeling fantastically well over the last day or two. Anyway, Franco Gamba in 17th, followed by Roman Quag 18th on row 9. As we come on to row 10, we have Oliver Glazebrook and Sam Thompson. And on the final row of the grid, we have the two virgins / Mauritius, Sean Grant and Zachary Fitzwater. So that is the grid. And now we will have a look at the weather for the race. And as you can see, it will be a dry race, so no wet and dry race, no race reminiscent of 2011. So this should be an interesting race, purely down to pace, but also down to luck. So this should be very interesting indeed. So we are now going to head to the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix, 70 laps around this track. And here we are on the grid, Waze Kuba on pole position with Viggo Holst in 2nd place. The lights are now coming on. We now have 3 lights, 4 lights and 5 lights. And we're underway for the Canadian Grand Prix, and who is going to get the jump into turn 1? It looks like Holst has been a much better start, and he takes the lead from Kuba as they head into the first corner. Fantastic start by the Danish driver there. Comfortably got ahead of Kuba as they head around turn 2. As they come around, there's a yellow flag out. There's something happening, and Robert Ionescu is out of the race. And once again, for I believe that is the 5th time in 7th races, has Robert Ionescu retired. The luck is just not going his way at all at the moment. Not at all. So let's have a look on board from his start. So he's running in 16th. So he made a fairly decent start. The Mercedes there, Sontag, just came out a bit in front of him there. But as he's coming through here, nearly the Williams, and you can see it was hit from behind. So there was clear contact from a car behind. So we need to see who, in fact, it was who did that. But unfortunately, Robert Ionescu, he won't care about that. He'll be pretty annoyed, to say the least, that he's been taken out. And it looks like it was the Lotus, I think. The Toro Rosso is one of those two. I think it may have been the Lotus there. We need to have another look at that. So we're going to go on board with, looks like, was it Oliver? Yeah, it was the Lotus. It was Oliver Glazebrook who caused that, who went in to the Toro Rosso of Thompson, who in turn went into, I believe, into the Mercedes of Felix Sontag. You can see there's a tap there, hit there into Sontag, and then boom, right into Ionescu, who unfortunately had just turned to go in front of Sontag coming into the corner. And unfortunately, Ionescu was a bystander, that nothing he could really do. So that is not the way he wanted to end his race, having not even got probably 200 yards down the track. But for Sontag, he'll have to go into the pits. And so will, I believe, Sam Thompson. I don't know if he got any damage from that. Anyway, Holst leads. Kuba's already under pressure from his teammate Joseph Willows with the McLaren of Evan Byrne. No, not Evan Byrne. Sorry, the Red Bull of Volker with Evan Byrne behind them. As they now head into the hairpin, will he try and make a move? Willows coming into the hairpin, and Byrne makes a move on Volker, and he takes P4 away, and he's now ahead as they come through down the back straight through the hairpin, coming through about to come through turns 13 and 14, but crucially going past the wall of champions. And now Willows is making a move on Kuba as they come into the final chicane. He's side by side. Is Willows going to make the mistake? Yes, he is. Kuba goes a bit wide over the curb. He's gone into the wall. He's taken Burn out with him, and I think he's taken the Red Bull. And yes, he has. The Red Bull is out, and that is Warren Volker. Kuba looks like he's out. Volker is out, and I believe Evan Burn is out as well. And oh, there was a wheel there, and yep, Kuba's out, Volker's out, and Evan Burn is out. What a dramatic start of the race. 3 title contenders out on the spot. Oh dear me, and that was all thanks to Willows, who made the pass on Waze Kuba. Waze Kuba went wide onto those really high bouncy curbs, and unfortunately hit the wall, and that's just a chain reaction, so we're going to have to see a replay on that one, as there's Holston Thompson that do come into the pits. Oh no, that was Franco Gamba, sorry, that was in the pits. But let's anyway go up and have a look at what happened, although we did see, and oh my goodness me, Mackenzie absolutely jumped over those curbs there. That was very, very high indeed. He was lucky not to get any damage from that. So let's see from Kuba's point of view. You can see he went over the curb, lost control, hit the wall, and Burn just was right there. Unfortunately, nothing he could really do about that. And unfortunately, that was really the end of Kuba's race. Burn's car is completely wrecked, and so is Volker's as well. Kuba obviously, unfortunately, drives into the wall. He was going to have to go around the whole way, around the pits, unfortunately. So that is very unfortunate there for him. Pole position, first pole position, and after a win in Monaco, unfortunately, that is going to go out of the window here. Very unfortunate there for the Congolese driver, as there's Volker's car being pushed away, Burn's car being pushed away as well. Not been Burn's greatest start to the season, but so let's have a look what happened from Volker's point of view, how he got involved. I think he went into Burn after he had got hit by Kuba, I believe. So we'll need to have another look at that for sure, as we look at Volker's car completely wrecked there, coming out of the final chicane. As Holster's now got a pretty comfortable lead, I imagine, ahead after all that chaos that happened behind him. So let's see if we can have a look from Volker's point of view, or if we're going to have another look from Kuba's point of view. So let's have a look actually what happened with Roke and Mackenzie. So Mackenzie, oh my goodness me, Mackenzie leaped over the curves and somehow didn't take out his teammate Roke with him. That was very, very lucky for both drivers there indeed. And wow, what a start to the race we've had so far. As 3 title rivals out in one corner, we now have 4 drivers out on the first lap. And the question is, who is now going to win this race? It looks like it's either going to be Ferrari or McLaren. Excuse me. But my goodness me, that was some start. So we need to really get back to the action to see what else could happen during this race. Because obviously this race, especially with the final chicane and the pit exit, we're going to throw up some action for sure. But at the moment, it's Holster's got a comfortable lead over Willows in second, and then Mackenzie in third, and then Roke in fourth. As Gal, who's now having to go back to the pits with his front wing after having some damage there. But we're going to have a look at Armar Carr as coming into the chicane. So he was overtaking his teammate De Rossa, and old De Rossa went wide, and he went over the curve, and De Rossa actually went into the wall, and he somehow got away with no damage whatsoever. So that's very lucky from him. And Carr tried to squeeze past Gal, but unfortunately kind of forced him out there, and he lost him a whole lot of positions. Dropped behind Rifki Varkazane and Roland Moitian. So Varkazane's already up to 6th, and Moitian up to 7th in the points already. So that is quite a start for sure. But Willows and Holst comfortably ahead of Mackenzie and Roke, who is right behind them. These two need to be careful. They've already had a collision with each other where they've been lucky not to take each other out. So will Roke try and move into the final chicane? I'm not sure. But as he comes through, he's right behind Mackenzie. Is he going to be close enough coming into the final chicane? Mackenzie defends, but he can't overtake because there's a yellow flag there. As we look at Felix Sontag coming through. And oh no, he's come through. He's hit some debris from somewhere, and he is out of the race. And now Franco Gamba has just hit the debris from his car. So there's debris from somewhere. No idea where, so we need to have a look. Something else has happened on the second lap. My goodness, what a start we've had. But Felix Sontag is out of the race. What happened beforehand, though, because there was some debris out. Oh, it was Sean Grant who was out coming into the second to last chicane. So what happened here? So he was running in 14th, and Zachary Fitzwater minimum on the inside. Oh dear, you could just see that was going to happen, didn't you? Fitzwater made a move on Gal. He was never going to make a move on Grant. I don't think he was even trying it, but he just braked way too late. Way too late, and just caught Sean Grant. He will not be a happy bunny about that at all, and I imagine Fitzroy will probably have to do a very long and heartfelt apology to him after this race is over. But so Sontag, I think, obviously hit the debris from Grant's car as he was coming down the small little straight, and then coming into the chicane. There were yellow flags waving, and the team were warning him on the radio to watch out for debris as he comes to. So he hits the wheel there, but then he just goes straight into the wall. Nothing he could really do about that, and unfortunately, that is Sontag out of the race. And Franco Gamma obviously unfortunately hit the debris from Sontag's car, so he's going to have to pit again. It's been a pretty nightmare start to the season after his points finish in Australia. Could have had points in Malaysia, but unfortunately suffered a mechanical failure, and since then it's just not really gone Gamba's way. But as we look at Sontag going through the chicane again, unfortunately probably a bit unsighted, probably wasn't expecting the debris to be there, and unfortunately just went into the wall. There's not really much he could do about that, to be honest, so he was certainly an innocent bystander in that. And that was very, very unfortunate for Felix Sontag, who himself hasn't had a fantastic start to the season, so I'll have to hope for more points finishes soon. As we look on board the side cam, so this will show another view of it. You can see the wheel just there, he hits it, and then the wheel just rebounds off his car, knocks his front wheel off, and then he just goes straight into the wall there. Very unfortunate there for the German driver, wearing the 2012 Schumacher helmet. So in respect of obviously Michael Schumacher, who unfortunately is still in hospital. As unfortunately Southgate has gone wide in the first corner, or coming around turn 2 I should say, and he's lost a position, and he's come out right in front of Roland Moitin here. He lost a position, so he'd been overtaken by Ricky Farquharson coming into turn 1, and then he went wide coming through turn 2, and then he lost a position to Amar Khan in the Force India, and now he could lose a position to Roland Moitin if he's not careful. Southgate, who's certainly one of the most consistent performers in the series, as you can see, Roke has actually now got past Mackenzie, so that has happened on track, and now we are actually going to see the replay of Roke getting past Mackenzie. So he was right behind him coming up to the hairpin, and he makes a move on the inside coming into the hairpin. Good move there by Roke, and he completes it fairly easily. Mackenzie doesn't really offer a fight back, but it's best they don't, as their teammates, although Roke did come quite a bit just ahead of him there, but fortunately no collision and no harm done. Now we are looking at De Rossa, who's defending from Adam Wolff behind him for P9, and is Wolff going to make a move coming into the chicane? He's alongside, he's side by side. Is he going to make it stick? Is he alongside him enough into the chicane? And the answer is yes, he is. And De Rossa goes wide, he goes into the wall, and he's been hit by Thompson, and he's been hit by Glazebrook as well, who's somehow not got damage. And unfortunately for De Rossa, he is out of the race. The final chicane once again takes another casualty with them, and hit the wall of champions, and unfortunately for De Rossa, he is out of this race. So that's very unfortunate there for the Polish driver, who's had a pretty decent start to the season, to be fair. So let's have another look at that incident. So you could just really see, unfortunately, that was going to happen for De Rossa. He had Wolff alongside him, and unfortunately, I mean, he could have either just tried to go straight along the chicane, or maybe tried to fight back, but he didn't fight back, and unfortunately just went way too wide, went over the curve. You could see that was going to happen. He gets hit by the Torosso there of Thompson, who actually somehow gets no damage from that whatsoever, so that was very lucky, and Glazebrook was lucky not to get any damage either, so very lucky on their part that De Rossa is the only one who's really lost out, you could say, in this one. As here is Rifki Farquharson, who has actually got past Jay Mackenzie, coming into the final chicane. So Mackenzie's dropped back, it seems, quite a significant amount to George Roke, so I must be on a different strategy then, because he's dropped very far back. You can't even see Roke. I think he might just have gone into the final chicane. You can see why Mackenzie has got a heavy fuel load, so it looks like he may be going for the one stop. As Ricky Farquharson moving up to 4th, putting in a good performance so far. So now here we are looking at the two Caterham cars. We are looking at Roman Quark, who's defending from Oliver Glazebrook, and is Glazebrook going to make a move coming into the hairpin? He's right behind him, and he's going to make the move for 11th place, and yes, he does. And Oliver Glazebrook up into 11th place, as now we have a driver in the pits. I think that was Rifki Farquharson for Sauber, and he does come into the pits for his first stop of the Grand Prix, and let's see how quick this stop will be. It's a 4.9, pretty quick there from the Sauber crew, and let's see where he comes out on track. And it looks like he's going to come out out of the points and in the top 10 in a good amount of space. And he comes through the pit exit, no problems there, no cars there, and there's Glazebrook and Quag, so good thing he just came out in front of them, otherwise that would have affected his pace. As now here comes Vigor Host into the pits for his first stop of the Grand Prix, 4.7 seconds, so it looks like there, looks like Holst may probably go on the 3-stop by the looks of it. I don't think a 2-stop will probably be a viable option as he's now pitted this early. It's a 4.7 stop, so that's a pretty quick stop, I have to say. Where's he going to come out? Is he going to come out ahead of Amar Khan and Force India? And the answer is yes, he is. So he's come out in a good amount of clear space. So George Roke is now up to 2nd place. Now look at Roman Quag, who's spun coming round turn 2 there. And the Red Bull of Mikhail Skau goes past him. And was lucky not to have any contact. You could see he just missed the efforts. He was way off there. Went onto the AstroTurf, then went back on and then just lost control of the car. And Gao was lucky he didn't get involved in a collision there. But Quag rejoins on track, having lost 1 place but lost a bit of ground, so at least he is still in the race. 14 laps gone so far of this race, as we now look at the Sauber of Ricky Farquharson, who's right behind Sam Thompson in the Toro Rosso. Is he going to try and make a move on him coming into the final chicane? He's got the slipstream. Is he going to be able to get him before the final chicane? No, and oh no, he does the little dummy, sells him there. He's on the inside. Is he going to make it stick? And Thompson goes over the curbs and he controls it. Farquharson goes into the wall and doesn't damage his car. And now Oliver Glazebrook's right behind, and so is Roland Moitin, as we've now got a nice battle on our hands with Nicholas Gow in the background, as Farquharson just about defends, and now Thompson gets passed. But well, actually, he doesn't get passed, sorry, by Moitin, and Glazebrook tries to get past Moitin as well, as now Nicholas Gow is now caught up to this lot, so that was a decent little battle we had there. 5 cars involved in this. But Farquharson does get past Thompson like he originally wanted to. Probably a bit not as quite as easy as he maybe wanted it to. But let's have another look again. So he's right behind Thompson. You can see he defended to the right. And Farquharson just sold him one there. That was a great move there. And you can see he tried to turn as much as he could. And he just hit the curb slightly. And he lost control of his car. And he did go into the wall, but fortunately not enough to damage the car. And now Nicholas Gow managed to catch up as Roland Moitin and Oliver Glazebrook got held up between these two as they were going at a lower speed coming out of the chicane. And Thompson just defended just enough from Moitin, and Moitin himself just defended enough from Oliver Glazebrook coming around turn 2 as they come into the first chicane and now through the second chicane. As we now look at George Roke, who's come in for his first stop, so it looks like he'll probably be doing a 2-stopper. Excuse me. As he comes out the pits in a good amount of clear space. Mackenzie's come out head in 3rd, but well, because he has yet to make a stop so far. Mikhail Skau comes in for his first stop. His race effectively ruined by that collision with Volker, Byrne, and Kuba. So he needs to just hope that he can maybe get a point or so now, and hope that another couple of cars or so retire from the Grand Prix. Because Red Bull is probably one of the best on the grid. So we shall see how that goes. So he now comes out of the pit exit, and let's see where he comes out. He comes out in 13th place. Willows is just coming down the straight, so he could get lapped by him soon if he's not careful. As now Sam Thompson comes in, I believe, for his first stop of the race, and he'll be pinning one more time before the end. And he comes out of his pit stall, and he'll come out, it looks like, possibly behind Mikhail Skau, as now Joseph Willows comes in, I believe, for his first stop of the race. As, let's see how quickly his stop will be. And it's a quick, he puts on the tyres. 3, 2, 1, and there we go. 5 seconds exactly. It's a pretty bad timing on my part. But let's see where he comes out anyway. He comes out in P2. He comes up behind Holst. So Holst is currently the leader, and he will come out, looks like, in P2 just ahead of George Roke. And here is Mikhail Skau, who's right behind Roman Quag, and he's going to make the move on the inside, coming into the hairpin, and he makes it stick. And it looks like Sam Thompson is going to try the exact same thing on Quag, but he'll most likely do it on the back straight with Oliver Glazebrook just hanging there in the background. As now Thompson, I should say, makes a move on Quag, coming down the straight. Is he going to make it for final chicane? Are they going to avoid contact? Are they going to avoid going over the massive sausage curbs? And the answer is yes, they do, although Quag gets a pretty poor exit out the corner, and that's going to now allow Oliver Glazebrook, his teammate, to make a move on him as they come down the front straight. And is Glazebrook going to make the move stick? And yes, he does. He makes the move past Quag. into P12, and Quag drops unfortunately another position, although he'll be pitting in probably a few laps time, I'd say. Vigor Holst makes his second stop, and will he go to the end? The answer is no, he will not. So that might have just handed the initiative there to Joseph Willows, who's only on a 2, depending on the pace of him. It looks like Willows might be the favourite to win this race. I don't think McLaren have got the strategy right with a 3-stop. I think the 2-stop is definitely the way to go. And speaking of stops, I don't know if Mackenzie's actually made his stop yet from P4. I don't know, I couldn't quite see on the fuel. It just disappeared off the screen before I could read it. Here is Mikhail Gal making a move on Ronan Moitin, but Moitin really defends coming into the hairpin, and Gal gets a pretty bad run, and now he's going to lose a position here as he almost went into the wall, looks like. And he was passed by the sister team Toro Rosso of Sam Thompson. So Moitin really defended there, coming into the hairpin, and Gal unfortunately got a bit put off by that, went quite wide, and Thompson made the move stick. And Thompson makes the move stick on Gal, as now we look at Ronan Moitin coming out of turn 2, who was running in P9, as he made the same mistake that Quag did, and yes he has. He goes wide, and as he comes back on the track he loses control of the car, is it? Yep, he does. And around he goes, as there's Thompson who's lucky not to avoid him, and whoa, my goodness. I don't know how he missed Gal's car, I have no idea. That was incredibly close. How he's missed it, I don't know. I don't know how Moitin has got away without being hit by either Glazebrook or Gal, but he's still in the race. That is a lucky escape. As now here we are looking at Armand Carr, who's right behind Alex Southgate for P5. Southgate really defends coming into the hairpin, although Carr goes a bit wide there. So now we'll see if he has enough slipstream to get him on the straight. If he's fallen a bit too far back, we shall see. As he's now catching up to him once again on the next lap, as he's now coming through the penultimate chicane, and he's now coming along to the hairpin. Is he going to try and make a move coming into the hairpin? He seems a bit too far back for that, but will he try it? Southgate defends, and Carr now is surely going to have an opportunity, because he's surely going to have a better run, and he's going to have the slipstream of Southgate's car coming down the front straight. And is he going to make the move coming into the chicane? Carr he's behind Southgate. Is he closing up enough? He seems to be closing. I think he is closing, but I don't know if he's going to be able to catch him up enough. Southgate moves to the inside and defends, and now Carr is going to be stuck behind him as they come through the final chicane. But surely Carr might try and make a move into turn 1. Will he, if he's close enough? He's fairly close. I don't know if he's going to do it. Is he going to try and move? No, he can't. Southgate defends still. Southgate keeps Carr behind him as they come into turn 2. And it looks like this battle is still going to go on for another lap or so, as they come through the first chicane. So we are looking at Southgate, who's still ahead of Carr for the moment, and they're still going on, although Southgate, I imagine, will be pinning next lap as Southgate defends once more. Carr's now on the inside. Is he going to make the move into the chicane? Southgate goes over and he hits the wall, and he somehow avoids any damage. Has Carr made the move stick yet? I'm not sure. I think he's alongside, so he's surely going to make it into turn 1 if he keeps alongside. Is he going to make it stick? And he still doesn't. He still doesn't make it stick. My goodness. And he still can't make the move stick. And Southgate somehow keeps ahead of Carr. I don't know how they both got away with damage not hitting the wall there. And look, Carr really sneaking around the inside. There was nearly contact from Carr. Southgate goes into the wall, lucky not to get any damage. And Carr had the opportunity. He should have had a better run than he did out the chicane, because then he would have comfortably made the move stick, but unfortunately just didn't have enough. The Mercedes engine doing enough just to keep ahead of the Force India there. And Southgate keeps the position for another lap as he now pits from P4, as he will be going to the end of this race on this set of tyres. A 5.4 second stop for the British driver for Mercedes. As he comes out of the pits, he'll come out in P10, so he'll come up behind Mikhail Gal in the Red Bull. He comes out on track ahead of the Lotus there. I think that was Roman Quag. As now there is, we look at Franco Gamma, 13th, Joseph Willows currently in P1 at the moment. Adam Wolf making his probably his last stop of the race. If we'll see how much fuel they put into the car, and it is indeed the last stop of the race. And he comes out a 4.8 second stop, so a pretty quick stop that was. And where will he come out on the track? It looks like it was outside the top 10. Armour Car comes in for his final stop of the Grand Prix. And he will, and let's see actually if he does come out in front of Southgate will be the interesting thing in that battle. So where is Southgate? The gal's gone over the line. Where is Southgate? Where is he? And oh, Southgate is comfortably ahead. He's definitely a fair distance ahead, but I imagine Carr, he's not actually too far ahead, but he's certainly ahead. Oh no! And oh my goodness me! And unfortunately, Glazebrook came out just at the exact wrong time, and then he comes out in front of Joseph Willows, who's about to actually pit this lap for the final time. Which is the worst possible timing for Carr. Had the momentum, and unfortunately Glazebrook just came right into his path. There was nothing really that he could do about it. Got a little nudge from Carr and went wide, and unfortunately came on the track right in front of Joseph Willows, who was about to lap him. He won't be too happy with that. As Armour Car comes out of the pits, and now he'll go after Alex Southgate, try and get that final top 5 finish. Or final top 5 spot, I should say. As now Joseph Willows comes in for his final stop of the race, 25 laps of fuel. So he'll come out, I imagine, pretty comfortably ahead of Viggo Holst, although actually I think Holst hasn't made his final stop yet, so Holst may still come out in the lead for the moment. I'm not sure. Where will he come out on track? Holst as you just come on the line. Yep, there is Holst, so Willows now comes out just behind Holst, but Holst has to pit again, so unfortunately for Holst, the 3-stop not worked out in their favour in this race. Unfortunately for McLaren, their strategy is once again, you could say, let them down. As Holst comes out of his pit stall, and he is going to come out in P3, but Roke, I don't know actually if he has made his final stop yet. Not that I can remember seeing, but I think he may have pitted a few laps ago. I think because I don't think he was going that late in the race before his final stop. So I think Holst might not even get a P2 here, depending on if he can catch George Roke before the end of the race. So this could be quite fascinating to see as well, as Miklos Gal, having made his final stop of the race at 6.4, quite a slow stop on his part. Ricky Farquharson makes his final stop at the Grand Prix for Sauber. 17 laps of fuel, so that will easily get him to the end. And let's see where he comes out on track. He'll come out in P7 by the looks of it, unless Alan Wolf goes past, and he has actually gone past. So he's now in P8, but I imagine he'll probably catch Wolf, and he's now in P9 as he gets in front of Gal. And where is Gal? And no, I think Mark was saying has just gone in front of Thompson actually. So he's just gone into the points as Gal has had to make another pit stop, and it's an electrical problem. So now any chance that Gal had of getting any points has now unfortunately gone right out of the window for the Hungarian driver. It's just not been his race at all, unfortunately. As he comes out of his pit stall, he might as well have just retired the car there, to be honest. Because of because unfortunately this race is basically over for him, because he's not going to get any points unless there's a mass of failures in the last 10 laps of this Grand Prix, but I doubt that will happen. And now here is the battle for P5 once again on between Alex Southgate and Armour Car. It's been going on for most of this race, or at least the second half of it. He tries to make a move, and Carr makes contact, and he barges Southgate off the track, and Carr makes the move stick there for P5. Quite ruthless to say the least, but I think Carr was tired of stuck behind the tailpipe of the Mercedes there, so he was just like, stuff you, and just barges him out of the way really ruthlessly. I imagine Southgate probably may not be too happy with that, but I don't know if he'll be able to catch Armour Car, because he's been stuck behind him the whole race, and Southgate has defended, to be fair to him, in quite a good fashion, and he has kept the place. Now here is the leader, Joseph Willows, who's still ahead of Roke, so at the moment Roke is in P2, and now I believe that is Southgate and Ricky Farquharson, who's actually caught up to Southgate, so Southgate has dropped way off the pace in this last half of the race. But for Joseph Willows, who's had a pretty torrid start to the season so far by just taking 1 second place, and that's his only points finish of the season, he did the 2-stop, which was the correct way to go about things, ahead of Holst, who unfortunately went on the 3, which is definitely not the right way to go. Ricky Farquharson tries to make a move on Southgate, and he has made the move on Southgate, and he moves into P6, and he will take P6 as he's set to come across the line behind the leader, Joseph Willows. But Joseph Willows, as I said, who's had a pretty torrid start to the season, comes down at the back straight and comes into the final chicane, and he will take his first victory of the season and Ferrari's second victory of the season. And now as he comes down at the pit straight, Joseph Willows is going to win the Canadian Grand Prix. Congratulations to him. Farquharson takes it just ahead of Southgate. Fitzwater comes across the line in 15th place. Disappointing race for him. He'll have words with Grant after this. Thompson takes a point for Toro Rosso in 8th. Alan Wolf is set to come home just ahead, it looks like, of Oliver Glazebrook and Miklos Gau as well, and he does 9th, 10th and 11th respectively. And George Roke is going to hold on to second just ahead of Viggo Holst, so well done to Roke, his best finish since I think 2008 of a second place, as now Roland Moyton set to come across the line in P12. As we're waiting, I think, for more cars to come across the line. So Mackenzie on that once that will come home in a very, very lonely 4th place, but he wasn't really under pressure from anyone in this race, so he had it pretty easy. I imagine it was probably one of the most boring races of his career, I think. But he comes now through the final chicane on to the pit straight, and he is now set to come across the line in P4. And now Roman Quagg comes across the line P13, and we are now waiting, I believe, for a couple more cars. We are. Franco Gamba comes across the line in 14th place, and now Amar Khan comes across the line to take his best finish of the season, takes his first top 5 of the season for Force India. Congratulations to him as well. There is your race winner, Joseph Willows, taking his first victory of the season for Ferrari's second victory of the season. So here are the full race results. Joseph Willows winning from George Roke in 2nd, Viggo Holst 3rd, Jamie Mackenzie 4th, Amar Khan 5th, Ricky Parkinson 6th, Alex 7th, and Sam Thompson completing the points, with Alan Wolf, Oliver Glazer, Miklos Gau, Roland Moyton, Roman Quagg, Franco Gamba, and Zachary Fitzwater finishing 1 and 2 laps down respectively, with De Rossa, Sontag, Grant, Kuba, Byrne, Volker, and Ionescu not finishing this race. So the fastest lap was set by Viggo Holst for McLaren, just ahead of Gal, Joseph Willows and George Roke. So unfortunately that strategy really didn't work out for him, with Falkenstein 5th, Wolf 6th, Mackenzie 7th, Carr 8th, Thompson, Glazebrook, Gamba, Southgate, Moyton, Fitzwater, De Rossa, Quagg, with Grant, Kuba, Byrne, Volker, Sontag and Ionescu not setting lap times, as obviously they retired on the first couple of laps. But anyway, here is the point standing. So Volker at the moment still leading by virtue of his win ratio, ahead of his teammate Miklos Gau on 37 points, with Evan Byrne 3rd on 33, Viggo Holst 4th with 27, Jay Mackenzie 5th with 25, George Roke 6th with 24, so it is getting quite tight up there in the top 6. Kuba 7th with 21 points, Joseph Willows now up to 8th with 18 points, Southgate 9th with 14, and Sontag 10th with 8 points, with De Rossa 11th with 7, Thompson 12th with 6, Carr and Ricky Hussein 13th and 14th with 4, Moyton, Gamba, Quagg 15th and 17th with 2 points, Wolf and Glazebrook 18th and 19th with 1 point, with Robbie Ionescu, Zachary Fitzwater and Sean Grant on 0 points. In the constructors' standings, Red Bull lead by 14 points ahead of McLaren, who are 11 ahead of Lotus, who are themselves 10 ahead of Ferrari, who are 17 ahead of Mercedes, who are 11 ahead of Force India, with Toro Rosso with 8, Sauber 8th with 4, Williams 9th with 3, same points as Caterham in 10th, with Marussia 11th with no points. Well, that has been the Canadian Grand Prix. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. It was a pretty good race, I have to say, although it was a little bit boring in the second half, I think. But anyway, don't forget to vote for, as usual, your driver of the day and give the race a rating out of 10. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you for the next race, the European Grand Prix at the Valencia Street Circuit. Thanks for watching, and see you later.